What up? What is happening, good people? Man, as y'all can see, if y'all stayed along, you watched the videos, you seen that we did some, like Shorty Doo-Wop doing some big truck driving and stuff like that. This video here will give you an introduction of how all this came about. This young lady making moves in the trucking industry. Hats off to her. By the way, I'm wearing her logo right now. But yeah, man, we're gonna let her explain and talk to us about what she's got going on. One thing you got to remember though, if you're going to the store to pick up any goods, a truck delivered it. You going to the auto parts to pick up any parts, a truck delivered it. 9 times out of 10, in the working world, anytime that you're gonna have parts delivered or something shipped out, trucks delivered it or a truck's going to pick it up. One of the two. So that is the importance of big trucking. Miss Corie Mills Carter, Transportation Services, CM Transportation LLC. You got any questions, hit up at charlestontruckexpo.com. I believe you can get some answers there. And here she is. Hey.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you nice and clear.
Like your hat.
Ha ha. Yeah. Sure enough. I was just giving a little bit of what you got going on. I believe you can break it down more. I was just talking about the videos, like the video of me and Shorty in the truck. Wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for you. So, if you don't mind, could you let the people know who you are, what it is you do, and all that good stuff?
I can. First of all, thank you,
You,
Swaps, Mr. Williams, for having me, for allowing me to be on your platform to talk a little bit about my little passion. So I am Carissa Carter, and that introduction that you were given, seeing y'all in the trucks, that was at the Charleston Trucking Expo. So you all travel all the way from Kentucky as a part of my great support system. I love you, and I thank you all for that as well. So last year was the first annual truck show, or excuse me, first annual trucking expo. So during the pandemic, man, like people came out of the woodwork and they were like, yo, Corie, how do I get involved in trucking? What is it that you do that I can do? Teach me how to do it. Teach me how to do it. How can I learn? And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I knew that, a part of my purpose when I got into trucking and when I was blessed to open my own company was to help other people, not just the drivers and customers and employees, but the community as well. So one day it just kind of hit me, like you have the epiphany. And I was like, what if I can get the people in transportation and logistics together, along with the people in the community, to be available for the people who have these questions. The same people that are hitting me up on my inbox are hitting somebody else up, asking questions. I know you probably seen dispatching services pop up online. A lot of classes that said you want to learn how to make a 6-figure income in the trucking industry. I don't know if people realized when CNN started talking about there being a driver shortage nationwide, when the Los Angeles port got backed up and they had 20 ocean vessels sitting off of the coast, right? So that's when the spotlight got really started to shine on transportation and logistics.
how important the trucking is. I mean, a lot of us drive past a semi or past a semi or whatever that is, and don't think no more about it other than it's got somewhere to be. I got somewhere to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
And what you saying as a port, with you having a port out there, it's very important to have means to get those containers to their destination some way somehow.
Right. So that's actually how I got into transportation. That's how I got into trucking. Um, like I mentioned before, I'm a country girl. We're neighbors. So I'm originally from Big Spring, Kentucky. We didn't have no ocean. The water that you seen was the Ohio River. We might have went to Rough River and did some tubing, Otter Creek Falls. When I moved to Charleston, it one of the jobs to have was something in that was port related. So I was blessed. I ended up being a customer service rep, and I learned to dispatch for one of those ocean liners. So like the big ships that you see out there on the water that carry the containers from China over to the U.S. That was my first job. So I didn't know what in the world they were talking about. I didn't know about reefer trailers and chassis and port of discharge and port of loading. So I was blessed there. I became a customer service representative, moved my way up, and I started dispatching the loads from the port to different truckers. And one of the trucking companies that I dispatched to, he was based out of Atlanta. That was my area of coverage. And he was like, "Yo, you have the it factor." And I think that once I got on the trucking side of it is when it all really clicked. So if you pick up anything, right now that has a made in something on any product. Let me see if I can find where this one made. Oh, so see, now this was distributed and sold by Trader Joe's in Monroe, California, right? So this is my little sunscreen because since I'm in Charleston, I go to the beach. So I got my little sunscreen. So it was distributed and sold by Trader Joe's. Well, where did it get? How did it get to Trader Joe's? Which is what that ultimate question that you were saying, right? So if it's not something that's produced and manufactured within the United States, those companies like Trader Joe's, they purchase it from somewhere else. So say they purchase it from China, because nine out of 10 things you're gonna pick up is gonna say made in China, made in Taiwan. That's made in China, right?
Yes.
So somebody before they sold that to get to wherever you purchased it from, they produced it, manufactured, made it in China. That store, let's just say Walmart. So Walmart ordered 5,000 cases of those cars. So once they were produced, manufactured in China, it went on a truck in China. It got shipped to the port, truck to the port in China, and then it loaded an ocean vessel to come from China to the United States. Hopefully, it came into Charleston, my port, so I could make some money. So once it arrived in Charleston, then I have to get it to the facility that it's going to, Walmart. So say it's going to the main facility in Arkansas. That's going to go on the rail. So we put it on Norfolk Southern Railroad, CSX Railroad, and they're going to put it on the train, and they're going to take that container from Charleston to Arkansas. Then once it gets in Arkansas, how's it going to get to Walmart? A truck's got to pick it up from the rail. So the truck picks it up from the rail, and they deliver it to that Walmart there in Bentonville, Arkansas. Same thing with the Trader Joe's sunscreen. So now once the product arrives into the port, a truck picks it up. A truck takes it to a distribution center where it's packaged, relabeled. I mean, how exactly like the job that you do, right? So the product that is shipped to you got delivered to you by a truck. Then you do your thing, and you probably send it out on another truck.
Another truck.
And I mean, whether it's food, whether it's health and beauty supplies, whether it's toys, whether it's clothes, no matter what it has to get from point A to point B. And the way that it gets there, I think, like you said, people ride by them and you never really know what's in the back of them. You don't know what's beside you in that, that truck has behind it. You might see the Walmart trailer. It could be full of those cars that you picked up. It could be full of Pampers. And it's going, to a Walmart, but I don't think anybody really, really realizes the steps that it takes us to get whatever it is on the shelves that we purchase. Like I said, whether it's from food, health and beauty products, clothes, medical supplies, if it got there, a truck brought it. So the foundation of and it's one of the oldest industries. We ain't gonna talk about, one of the other oldest industries in the United States. We just gonna leave it at trucking. But yeah, right up there when they built the railroads and all of that. Some of them old industries, you remember them old? Me and you were just laughing about the Sanford and Son truck now
Yes.
because we picked it up. You're moving your houses, like movers, dump truck drivers. They hauling concrete, contractors. You can't get your house built if you don't have You don't have the wood products, you don't have your flooring products, whether it came in a truck with a trailer or whether it come with a truck with a flatbed. Hell, we deliver whole houses. A mobile home hooks up to a truck and gets
Right.
dropped off wherever it's going to deliver. So yeah, I mean that's a good question, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. Just taking the stigma off of trucking just being like dumb truck drivers. Because I'm not gonna lie, when I entered into the business, a lot of people, that's how they kind of looked at our guys. And in the community's defense, a lot of them, they are used to manual labor. You don't have to have a college degree. Back in the day, you probably didn't even have to graduate high school, So some of these guys might have quit high school in eighth or ninth grade, but they could go get that CDL and they can whip that big truck and they can pull that container. Um, One of the stories that I'll never forget. My oldest daughter, Chasen, who's entertained you for most of her life. Um, you got to pass the phone. Mommy's driving, and hey, I need you to do this for me. Give Mr. Joe this information, and he signed his name with an X, Cardell. I mean, really. And this was like, I started in transportation and logistics in 1999. So we're talking maybe 2004, 2005. I had a driver that was probably in his 60s. And, Cece kind of made it her passion that she wanted to help Mr. Joe, actually Johnny. She wanted to make sure that he could fill out his check. And we every week until he got it, he filled out his check. And I think that was one of those aha moments for me too. Like, the people that are looking like me, looking back at me, look like me, and they've been passed on. They've been passed over. They've only looked at as they were only looked at like they were good enough to do manual labor. So the fact of it is the country would not even be functioning without them. But nobody stopped to make sure that they were poured into like they pour back into the world. So when you see those trucks and you think that they're slowing you down in the fast lane, think that why is this guy only driving 65? I mean, I, I really want people to stop and think like, wow, I wonder what's in that trailer behind him. It could be the underwear you got on. It could be, like I said, some toilet paper. We all know what happened during COVID. So without these truck drivers, I wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't have a business. But other than that, I wouldn't have a home. I wouldn't have a car. I wouldn't have food. I mean, none of that. I wouldn't have medicine. So I also wanted to trying to get it to the point where it's on a national level where the communities start appreciating. Is that the word I want? I want the community that we interact with to know what it is that we do and to appreciate what it is that we do. So I want to spin off real quick and talk about those trucks. Um, like the trucks that you were showing and that you were talking about. From your experience, if you had to put a dollar value on what those guys invested in those rigs, I mean, from the interior to under the hood.
I couldn't because um, to my knowledge, I could even know. I don't even know what the price of a semi is. I know they're way, 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 way up in there, and so I can't put a dollar amount on them. I know that it's a whole different ball game when you're customizing a semi. I mean, granted, you're going to do similar things, but you have a much broader scale to say, let's paint it. Well, it's a lot bigger.
And just for shits and giggles, we're gonna say that 20,000 to 80,000. Now let's multiply that times four.
See,
Because just for them to get just for them to get a set of tires alone, that's like $6,000. That's no rims or nothing, just the tires. So could you imagine having to pay $6,000 every time you needed to put tires on your pickup truck? So in my experience, one of the guys, he leased a truck. He leased it pretty much brand new. He drove to Baltimore and picked it up 6 years ago. He actually paid it off last year, so this would be the seventh year that he owned it. The sticker on that truck was $128,000. So that's more than some people's homes, right?
Yes.
So he
Yes.
paid $128,000. I mean, he made payments. It's not like he dropped the cash on it, but $128,000. That's what I knew 7 years ago. Now, just like everything else since COVID, inflation is killing him, right? So that same truck that he paid 128 for is probably pushing 150, 160. It's probably got 400, excuse me, 40,000 more dollars on there. So those trucks and those truck shows, the trucks that you've seen, like to customize them, I would say that those trucks that we actually had out there and who, redid the floors on the inside, the paint jobs and all of that, those guys are easily investing $100,000 to $150,000 in those trucks. But they can do it because they're making $300,000-$400,000 a year. Did you
So
hear that?
that is it. Are you just the first? Are you the first female in this industry, black female in this industry in your area?
I don't think that I'm the first one. I want to say that I'm the first successful one. This will be
Okay.
our 12th year in business.
Oh,
So
amen,
yeah,
amen.
12 years. So there have been more that came before me, that tried. But I'm currently the largest black female terminal in Charleston.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm the largest black terminal in Charleston, female aside.
Woo!
So there's not a gentleman in Charleston that has more trucks than I do at this time. Yeah, so I am the largest black trucking terminal in Charleston. We run under County Transport Services. But so, like you said, I spearheaded it. I've learned a lot. The guys taught me a lot. And when we throw those numbers around, like when I say they make 3 to 4, like the trucks that you saw, because there's different levels, like those guys are business owners. The one gentleman, he owns 3 or 4 trucks. So that's why his revenue is probably $400,000 a year. So y'all don't go out there and say, Corie Mills Carter told me I can get a truck and make $400,000 a year.
Right.
That's not what I say. Those guys at the truck show, because they are business owners with multiple trucks. We call them fleet owners. But then you have to, like you said, they have to pay the expenses out of that. They're paying their maintenance, they're paying their fuel. Uncle Sam got to get his cut. You got to pay operating expenses. Some people charge you just to deliver and unload. So out of that 400,000, they still bring home over 50% of that. So I'm going to say to the house, they're probably bringing home 250 to 300,000. So they're spending 100,000, maybe 125,000 on expenses to keep their businesses up and operational. But for the most part, a guy who owns his own truck and works in his own business, he can, depending on how far he wants to run, just like we were talking about the swap, depends on what their passion is. Some guys don't want to leave the state. So I have guys that they're home every night. They stay in the state of South Carolina. They don't go anywhere, and they still are bringing home $125,000 to the house a year without a college degree, right? Now, to get your commercial driver's license, it's not like you can just go and study a book like we get our regular driver's license. So it is a profession, and that's something else. These guys are professionals. Some of them are more professionals than others, but they're professionals. So after they get that permit, they got to learn how to back that. They got to learn all of the rules and regulations of DOT. They got to learn how to back that truck into those docks. Could you imagine driving an 18-wheeler with 40 feet behind you on the road that you live on and have to back up into right, that part. So yeah, so they are professionals, and I don't think that they get enough credit for that either, because it is more than just hopping in the car and driving.
Yeah, that's my dad was a truck driver, and I rode with him many a times.
Yes.
I was supposed to be, his extra eyes and ears, but most of the time I was asleep.
No way, not you.
I was asleep. But it's one of those, we come through. We there yet? No, we ain't there yet. It's just one of those things. But it's interesting to see another side of it. Like you said, what a lot of people don't think about where their products come from,
Right.
or
And
how they arrived.
for those that don't know, Cardo, where are you from?
Where am I from? I am from a little state just above Kentucky originally,
Mm-hmm.
and I live in a little town west of Fort Knox, Kentucky. So we'll put
And
it that
so originally born and raised in Jeffersonville,
Jeffersonville, Indiana.
and 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 the reason that we're talking about those states is because the reason I wanted to bring that up is I'm here in Charleston. It's a port city, and I'm originally from small town in Kentucky,
Kentucky. Yeah.
and um, the Louisville area, like what your father did, that was a gateway to the South. That's something that I didn't know until I got on the other side of it as well, right? So we talked about putting stuff on trains. We're putting stuff on trains so that it can get to Arkansas. We put stuff on trains to go to Kentucky so that it can deliver to Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, because nobody wants to pay the trucking costs to truck it all the way from Charleston to Michigan, you
Gotcha.
know. But Kentucky and Indiana was a gateway hub. It's a gateway for the trucking industry. It's for the manufacturing industry. And growing up there, I know I didn't have any idea, but it does make perfect sense. It is a gateway to the South, and a gateway to the North, but it's a gateway for the trucking industry. And once again, for our fathers, my stepfather was a truck driver as well. They didn't go to college, but they could earn a profession and take care of their families,
Yeah.
by having those CDLs. So yeah. And if anybody, like anybody that's watching this, anybody that replays this, anybody that talks to anybody, if you really think about it, somebody knows somebody that drove a truck or worked in a warehouse or worked in a factory and or worked at Walmart, you know? I mean, somehow, some way, if you work in fast food, bruh, McDonald's got their own trucks that's
Trucks, right?
backing up and delivering for you
Mhm.
to get your Happy Meals. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's something that you're not going to get away from as far as being a consumer. You're not, being able to consume whatever it is that you consume. You're not getting away from having trucks deliver your goods to you. Let me see. I got some stuff across the ticker here. Yay! I mean, and as far as if anyone wants to get a hold of you, and is this a good? Let me see here. Can
That
we
was it.
use that right there
You
for someone?
can. You
Okay.
can
So someone wants
visit
to
the
get a hold.
Charleston Truck Expo website. I answered a DM today off of our Instagram page. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. The girl said, my brother is a mean boss. I want to learn how to drive a truck. And she said, do you have women drivers? I do have women drivers, and I told her, let's set up a call. But you can message us, charlestontruckexpo.com. You can hit us up on Messenger if you have questions, if you want to be put in contact, because all of this is about sharing information, right? Educating, empowering, inspiring. That's what we want to do. So I don't want it to be like, we're untouchable. And when I say we, I mean the people who helped me, put this on. I had dynamic speakers. um, One guy started off driving the truck. Our keynote speaker, he started off as a truck driver, opened his own trucking company. Now he is like a mentor, and he can help you set up your own business. And he probably is a half a billionaire. He probably made $500 million in this business. So I'm trying to be like him when I grow up. I
Heard
ain't
that.
got there yet.
Heard
Yeah,
that.
but we
Heard
working on that diesel mechanics
that.
and all of that stuff, But yeah, hit us up because that's what I want to do. I want to answer questions. I want to put people in touch with other people, put people in touch with this industry to answer their questions, to let you know. One thing that I always hear is nobody wants to help. Nobody wants to help me. I want to open my own business. I don't know how. Nobody wants to help me. You hear the crab in the barrel mentality, right? Oh, it's crabs. They don't want to see you come up. They don't want to see your sister come up. Well, not me. Reach out to us, charlestontruckexpo.com. Follow us on Instagram. Follow like our page on Facebook. Hit me up and ask me a question. I don't have a problem at all helping somebody. Each one teach one. And I believe that that's how I'm going to continue to be blessed. I believe that's why I'm blessed now. I believe that's what my purpose is. Um, and it's not just trucking, community. What you want to talk about? You want to talk about your taxes? You want to talk about employees? You want to talk about healthcare? You want to talk about real estate? Yo, I know somebody for that. I know somebody for that. I know somebody for that. And that's what I want to do. And that's why again I thank you for this platform because um, there are so many people who really have no idea um, what it takes or like what's behind it. So the audience that's watching you has no idea that this even exists. So how do we get it out there? How do we take it to different cities? How do we get it from South Carolina to Kentucky to North Carolina to Tennessee to Texas? We want to spread the word. I want to know who's interested in us coming to your city. Hit
Heard
Swap's
that.
up.
Heard that. I got a couple guys that are that are drivers that
Okay.
that comment and I talk to from time to time. So that which is cool. And the last interview that you did, I actually sent that link over to him, and I was like, "Hey man, check us out. You get a chance." He said, "I'm driving right now. I
You're
can't."
right. Good
so,
answer.
so yeah, it's and I appreciate your time, you coming on here, being I guess you would say car channel. I say stuff, swaps and stuff. So there ain't no
Swap
telling
and
what we'll
stuff.
talk about. We'll talk about a little bit of anything, to be
Yeah.
honest. And I appreciate the invite for us to come down and hang out with you guys. Those of y'all that follow me on Facebook, some of you do, some of you don't, and I'm a little picky about who does and who don't. So, what some of y'all do, y'all may have seen this young lady in some of my photos. Good peoples, man. Good peoples. Good
Thank you.
peoples.
And some of you all who do, and some of you all who don't, may have noticed that he was one of my judges for the first annual truck show. And when I thought of this, and I was like, "Oh gosh, who do I get to judge?" Like because I wanted it to be. I didn't want anybody to say, "Oh, Carissa, that's her family or that's so and so's cousin," and because the gentleman who actually placed twice I've known him since he was 16. You didn't know that, but everybody else in Charleston probably knew that because I dispatched his father. I worked with his father for years. And so you were the first person that came to mind. Who's going to actually appreciate what's under their hoods? Who's going to appreciate the time that they took into it? And so, you and Sue were one of my first two choices. And I want to thank you for that. And how did it feel being a judge with Murphy Lee?
That was cool, man. That was
That was
cool.
cool.
It was cool, especially somebody that that you listen to growing up, music
Right.
wise. You're like, man, hey, man, and then you kick it, holler at him and all that. Down to earth. Cool,
Right, right,
very cool,
right.
very cool. And
But we really do appreciate you. We appreciate y'all traveling. I appreciate you taking, because you didn't take it lightly. You could have walked around in 5 minutes and wrote some stuff down, but yo, Carl was like, let me see what's under that hood. I need to know. I need to know
I
what you're
was,
working with under there.
I was. I said, let me see what's on that hood, man.
I
Let
said,
me
man,
see
Carl,
what's
just let him alone. Leave him
Yeah,
open the
yeah,
hood.
yeah, man. I said, I'm asking. I said, you got to stretch. The frame is stretched and this, that, and I like the customization of anything really.
Yeah.
Not saying that when they produce a vehicle, whether it be a truck or a car, it's not nice looking, but you
Right.
got to put your own. To me, you got to put your own touch to it.
Put your own touch to it.
And whether
That's
that's putting some fog lights on it, cool. Putting
right.
some rims on it, cool. But you got to put your own touch on it. It's one thing that if you go buy a blue car, no matter what their car is, and your neighbor goes buys a blue car, and then somebody else down the road go buy a blue car, and y'all all go to the store at the same time, you may have a problem finding your car in that car. So that's why I say
That
you put
part.
your own touch to it, and guess what? There's no problem. Oh
No
yeah, there
question
it is.
about.
There it is. There's mine.
So when you ride through, they know that's you coming through.
Sometimes, mainly
There
because
you
parts are falling off. No. No, it's fun. It's fun. It really is. Just like anything else, it's got its days. but
Yeah.
it's fun.
Good.
And then Shorty slash Sue, she's into it too, so that's a big help.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
big
and
help,
she
man.
always has been, like since we were younger. Yeah, so that was something that I can attest. Like, yo, she didn't just jump on the bandwagon because her man was into it. That's been her since we were young, 15, 16.
Yeah,
Yeah, jumping hills
old
and
school,
racing,
big cars, and
old school, big
man,
cars.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. As now, as far as the future of trucking,
Mm,
you may have a little more insight than those of us on the outside looking in. With and I hate to say it, but with electric vehicles coming along, what is your take on it? I mean,
well, I actually, when I was promoting the trucking expo, I actually went to a local EOM, which is or OEM, excuse me, which is the original equipment manufacturer. I went to the Peterbilt dealership to see if they couldn't bring out their first electric truck. So I actually seen an electric truck. Um, Pros and cons. I mean, just like an electric car, it's got to be plugged up. It's got to be recharged. So I believe that it can only actually work for maybe 10 hours without having to be recharged. Um, I think the same thing that we were talking about, like driving down that 2-lane highway to deliver to a rural town in Kentucky or Tennessee or West Virginia. Um, do I really think that that will go away and that automation will take over? I don't think so. I think that there's still going to be a need to have a physical person in some of those trucks. I believe that electric trucks will, I believe that they'll come into play, but I think that they will be maybe local, I guess is what I want to say. I don't think that electric truck for the loads that we deliver from Charleston to Nashville, Tennessee. I don't think you're going to see an electric truck or an automatic pilot truck delivering that. I mean, who's going to put an automatic pilot in the mountains of? I mean, you just came
right,
through them, right?
right,
It's
right,
Saluda
right.
Mountain. I'm not finna ride on the road with unless it's a person in that truck. So it is coming. They are coming. Just like technology, just like electric cars came. So they are coming. We will see them. I don't think that they'll ever be able to replace our good old truck drivers, though. I think that they'll be used for certain things. Maybe manufacturing facilities that have shuttle services. It's like we have one of the major warehouses here is Mercedes. They make the Mercedes Sprinter vans here in Charleston. Well, they pick up the engines from the Cummins plant, and then from the Cummins plant to the Mercedes plant might be a 20-mile difference. So something like that, So they may do electric trucks down the interstate, and they can put the GPS in. So it is coming. Safety is safety is high on the government's list. I don't want to say that they want to wipe us out per se. Looks like we're being interrupted too. You see that?
What's up with you?
Okay.
What's up, man?
So safety is high on the government's list of precautions because there are a lot of fatalities. When it comes into trucking, it's not always it's not always roses. So, and we understand that in the trucking industry because I don't want to bury a driver either. So technology, as the world advances, the trucking industry is going to advance. We will see autopilot trucks. We will see electric trucks. We will see trucks that the emissions, you know what I mean, that have less emissions. So our good old diesel, when I first started, there was no automatic trucks.
Right.
Everything was a manual transmission. An 18-wheeler was it was an 18 speed. Excuse me, it was a 16 speed. So that it is changing. And it's going to. I think it's going to be some trial and error, but I do think that it'll be for some local. But I think that the man behind the wheel or woman, man or woman behind the wheel, excuse me, I think that we're also going to be here to stay. And so that means they're going to need those of us that are in the office, and everything can just go to digital. Even though when I first started, The guys had to write down their information. We called them, so now I get to text them. Now they have laptops in their truck. Now they can scan the paperwork to me. So in my 23 years of doing this, yes, 23 years, over 2 decades,
All right.
I've already seen it growing and changing. So I expect it to continue to grow and change. Um, but I don't think that the world could replace truck drivers. And I definitely know that trucks can't be replaced, because if you got it, a truck brought it. We keep the world moving.
Yes,
We
and
really, really do.
that is what I label this trucking. It's what moves America.
That's what moves America. Thank you, Mr. Williams Swaps.
Yeah,
We
truck.
appreciate you.
Yes,
I'm gonna
yes,
come back and talk to you, but we don't have to just talk about trucking. Like I said, they want to talk about entrepreneurship. I can't answer much question about swaps, but I'll come and talk about anything else you want to talk about.
heard that, man. Well, look, I appreciate your time. Like I said, if y'all have any questions, y'all can definitely find her on Facebook with
Charleston
Charlestown.
CharlestonTruckExpo.com. You can follow our Facebook page, the Charleston Truck Expo. You can find us on Instagram, Charleston Truck Expo. You can visit our website, CharlestonTruckExpo.com. You can hit Swaps up and say, "What's that? What was that lady's name talking about trucking?" Because you can find me, Corie Mills Carter. You can Google me, Carissa Carter. I'm on Google. You can Google me now. I've been around for a little while. So you Google me, hit me up. Don't be afraid to DM me if I can help you in any way. And of course, Carl, you and Shorty, if there's anything I could ever do for you all, we're family. This isn't just business. This isn't just us talking. Like, we vacation together.
Yes,
This is my rounds. This is my mans and them. And I love you. I
me
appreciate
too.
you. And at any time, I'm ready to come back.
Yes, yes. So we're gonna definitely get back with her again. We'll try to get a live on. So, like,
That
if you
sounds good.
guys really have any questions pertaining to certain things, she can enlighten you there right then and there to,
Yep.
and give you some information because again, I don't know nothing about it other than this big old truck.
That's right. Let's talk
Big
about
old
it.
truck. Big old
Let's talk trucking. Let's talk business.
yes,
I'm
yes,
ready when you are.
yeah. Well, we're gonna sign off, y'all. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and share if you don't mind. And
Like,
like I
swaps and
said,
stuff. Whistle
swap-
gang. Like, subscribe, and share.
yes,
Thank you.
and like I said, this is a different than what we usually talk about, but I kind of want to hit different avenues. I just don't want to be to one thing. I want to do different avenues because you never know, man. It might, it might be something I ain't never known nothing about and be like, whoa, this is me. This is me. You know what? This
Right.
is me.
That's right.
So, yeah, I appreciate that, man. And thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome. And once again, thank you for having me.
Tell everyone I said hello.
And the same there. See y'all in
Yeah.
a couple of weeks.
All right. All right.
All right. Love you.
Me too. Let's
All
see
right.
here.